Man, how is it already almost June of 2024? I mean, it feels like just the other day we were bringing in the new year, but either way, for those of you who are listening in the United States, hope everybody had a wonderful Memorial Day weekend and got to celebrate it with their friends and their family while barbecuing, hanging out on a boat, or if it applies to you, went as wild as you possibly wanted. While, of course, acting within the confines of the law. And also remembering the soldiers who died for our country and the values therein. An act known as patriotism, which for many people seems to be lost on them. Case in point, there are people who seem to be psychiatrically ill when they see the US flag, as some have even taken to TikTok to rant about it.
So I just moved to the suburbs from San Francisco. But what really makes me feel unsafe here is the vast amount of American flags I see. Like, I walked around like a 3, 4, 5 block radius, and I saw so many American flags, and that makes me feel so unsafe. Like, I'm afraid of the people here.
So I'm walking around in a racist white neighborhood, and I noticed how if I see a pickup truck with an American flag, it's basically like the Confederate flag. Every time I see an American flag, I cringe.
Even complaining that it represents fascism.
These two flags are fascism in 2023. The United States is a fascist police state. I have solidarity with Palestinians as a Black American living under a fascist police state. The US police are trained by Israeli police on how to brutalize Black people. Look it up. Just look it up. And it makes sense that the average white liberal American would have solidarity with Israel because liberals, Democrats, conservatives, Republicans are fascists. Full stop. Hope this helps.
Even though she probably knows nothing about living anywhere near a police fascist state, all while reaping the benefits of living in the land of the free known as the United States. Now you may be thinking these are just some idiots on social media, and you probably wouldn't be wrong, but you can see that that sort of hatred of America is enabled within our institutions as well. As Harvard University students were cheering while tearing down the American flag to replace it with the watermelon. And earlier this May, watermelon protesters replaced the American flag at UNC, to which a group of fraternity brothers stepped in to protect it. And they stood their ground despite being harassed by the other side. While singing the national anthem.
Was so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streamed, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air.
And in return for their hard work, there was a GoFundMe to simply throw them a party, which raised over $500,000, which shows there's still patriotism here, and that 100% deserves to be rewarded. But the fact that people get so enraged over simply seeing the American flag is astounding. And latest accused of showing that hatred is Brooke Merrill, the superintendent of Denali National Park and Preserve. Located in Alaska, formerly known as McKinley National Park, and home to what used to be known as Mount McKinley, aka the highest mountain peak in North America and the tallest mountain in the world. But either way, this week construction workers at that park were reportedly ordered by Brooke Morrell to stop flying the flag around as it distracts from the experience. According to sources, the crew working on a 475-foot-long bridge in Alaska's Denali National Park was told that they could no longer fly the American flag from their trucks or heavy equipment, which are being used in the $207 million Federal Highway Administration project. And per one of the contractors, Merrill claimed there were complaints about the flag and that they must stop flying the flag from their vehicles, which is interesting as the National Park Service's website has an entire page dedicated to LGBTQ flags. And I highly doubt that you'd be able to tell somebody waving their LGBTQ flag that they're distracting without fear of getting canceled. But you could bet your bottom dollar that I'd fight tooth and nail for someone's right to be able to wave it, even if it is quote-unquote distracting, because I value free speech, provided that it doesn't infringe upon my rights. And I think somebody who would agree with this sentiment is Dan Sullivan, senator from Alaska. Because in response to this, he wrote a letter to the park saying that for reasons that remain unclear, someone at the National Park Service, NPS, caused the construction crew to remove the American flag from the vehicle. That this is an outrage, particularly in the lead up to our most solemn national holiday. The American flag, especially on Memorial Day weekend, should be celebrated, not censored by federal government employees. And that I request that you immediately investigate this incident. And lastly, I also request that you outline what concrete steps the NPS will take to ensure an incident like this does not happen again in American National Park. To which Denali issued a response themselves, saying that the reports that they ordered the removal of the flag from someone's car are false. At no time did an NPS official seek to ban the American flag from the project site or associated vehicles, claiming the NPS has no authority to enforce terms on contractors, that the flag can be seen at various locations within the park, and that they welcome its display this Memorial Day weekend and every day. And they also posted on Instagram with the picture of the flag and that same statement, to which some people replied that this was typical lies spread by Republicans. However, someone else said that this was from Eelson, which is closed, and that this is an old pic, which it is in fact temporarily closed. So in my opinion, doesn't really prove anything. Which, if it's happening within the confines of that park, they can try to enforce whatever they want upon you, even if it is anti-American. And speaking of anti-American, where the letter seems very insincere for me, is that nowhere did they talk about upholding American ideals. And that's where it really fell short. But if you think I'm reaching there, please let me know in the comments. But either way, people on X were not having it either, as many of the replies consist of accounts like Libs of TikTok, just posting flags, GIFs with the American flag, Cynthia Holt replying to a post with the story, and others. And what's more, on May 26th, there was a patriotic convoy scheduled, which was from the Walmart in Fairbanks, Alaska, to the park, followed by a barbecue. And the convoy did happen. With even elderly people attending.
We have a special visitor here. What's your name and what's your point of going to the rally?
My name is Betty Itta. My last name used to be Ward. I'm one of the Carols out of Fort Yukon. And I was born in the Hudson Stuck Memorial Hospital in Fort Yukon, Alaska. And I'm sure Mr. Hudson Stuck prayed over me a few times. He was a very well-liked man up there, and he climbed Mount Denali and planted a flag with 48 stars and a cross, and he died in the year 1920 of pneumonia. and buried in Fort Yukon at the Hudson Stuck Cemetery.
And so you were born in that hospital named after the man that planted the American flag on Mount McKinley, now Denali.
That is right.
That's a great reason to go. I'm glad you're going down there and joining the celebration and making it known why we have the right to show off our flag and be proud of our country.
Yes, that's right. And when I do pass, I'm going to be buried at the Hudson Stuck Cemetery in Fort Yukon.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Now, I did do my independent fact check, and Mount McKinley was first climbed in 1913, and one of the people was in fact Hudson Stuck, as the woman said. And so, the silver lining in all of this is that even though there are people who love being anti-American more than anything, there will always be people who are willing to step in and preserve our values, and that is how you show gratitude to our country. Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you're new to this channel, hopefully I've earned a subscription. Here's some videos for you to watch in the meantime. Until next time, peace out.